Hey, this is Scott Lawrence, Breakside Brewery. You're listening to Verbal Shenanigans.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Verbal Shenanigans podcast. If you're just tuning in, this show is basically just two cool dudes living two perfect lives, just getting along and being buddies along the way. That's how I would describe the podcast.
Easily. Not an issue in the world, carefree. Everyone else in the world loves us, and there's no questions about where our future holds.
I like to look at my life and pretty much say I did everything right so far, and that God is paying me back. I got no issues, and life is just really good. I get to make a lot of money doing this. There's really got nothing to talk about.
Well,
really,
obviously,
today.
you got the God money you just talked about. Like, I didn't even know. Like, does he hold a bank that I can go to? Is there like a secret ATM to get to the Lord?
As someone who has said that they have very, very close access to God himself, and that you are the number one draft pick in heaven, and that you have this arrangement with the Lord and Savior, I feel like you should know this information.
Well, he didn't give me all the details. Like, we're working out the contracts. I didn't know I had to bank with him. You know, I'm a Wells Fargo kind of guy, and I didn't know that was part of the deal. So I'm a little concerned here.
You didn't go to the JC Bank of America, man. I'm sorry. You got to get your money there, man. You got to get your money in there, and it grows exponentially.
Yeah, unfortunately, they still make you write checks. There's there's nothing you can do about that. They're very old school at that bank church right there.
Well, welcome back, everyone. If you didn't tune in last week or this is new to you, we came off a really kind of an interesting interview last week. We interviewed our first, and let's say probably most likely our last 100-year-old guest on the show.
Like, you have no vision here. I thought every week we find a 100-year-old and just say, talk to us.
So you think we should be like the centenarian podcast?
I don't know what that word is, but sure.
So we just scour the globe for 100-year-olds, and even babyboomers.org is like, Jesus, this is this is not even our core.
What was the Hucklebuck like, huh?
No, but we did come off a really cool interview with a man by the name of Alan Shane, who just put out a book about being 100 years old and kind of having this relationship with his partner for 67 years. He was the former head of Warner Brothers. So it was a pretty cool, got a lot of good reaction from the couple clips he posted too. So it's a good episode. So this week we're actually doing something that we haven't done in a long time. We're actually giving the audience two guests tonight. Now, in the past, we would have smashed 3, 4. Who knows? We'd smash anybody together. But I'll explain the reasoning when we get to the second.
Well, I'll explain for the audience, Scott. Here's the thing. So we did 100-year-old, and we're like, well, we want to get all the audience. So tonight we are talking to a newborn. Baby literally just came out of the womb about 20 minutes ago. I hope he's figured out Zoom in his few amounts of time on this planet. But
I thought you were going to say that if we don't have 100-year-old, we at least have to have two guests that add up.
250s. Okay. Yeah. God, I can't find a 77-year-old. You're going to have to cancel the 23-year-old.
Yeah. Mike, are you following the astronauts that are going to the moon? Are you at all interested in it?
To a degree. I mean, yeah, they're doing stuff that's never been done before. It's intriguing. I believe, didn't they somebody unclog a toilet on that?
Yes, one of their first obstacles was a toilet. The pee line, the liquid line froze.
Do you think, what part, okay, let's start off with how long do you think training you need to get to, you can get on a spaceship and circle the moon and come back? How many days, weeks, months, years?
how much training I don't know these people go through. They're all like scientists, doctor. I'm going to say 15 to 20 years of something involved leading into your NASA training. I think it's a couple decades.
Okay, so let's go to the low end, 15. So in that 15 years, when does toilet training occur in this?
The reason I asked you, are you into this? Because for some reason, the astronaut thing has grabbed me. I was watching the press conference yesterday about where they would be approaching and what's happening in the next 24 hours. And I find it fascinating because the internet is, before it's even done, it's already a hoax. People are already saying that this is the second fake moon exploration that we've done. Now, you in the tinfoil tournament, I believe is that what won the moon landing being fake? I think you said that was the most. I think
if it didn't win, it went very far. Yeah.
So I gave Mike this tournament last year. It was called the tinfoil tournament, and he had to pick out of 32 conspiracy theories which one was the most probable, which won the tournament. I believe it was moon landing. But anyway, I don't know. For some reason, it's kind of grabbed me. But, the space toilet, apparently, this is one of the most important things that they go through before the launch and whatnot. And the toilet apparently is like a couple million, or if not $1 billion, because think about it, you're going up for 10 days or whatever it is. It's a pretty big problem if you can't get rid of any waste, and it's just kind of floating around around the machinery and the astronauts.
I mean, can't you just like put it in like some foil or something and shoot it out of the damn thing? Like
foil. Yeah.
That's space foil. That's a special foil. It's not your run-of-the-mill aluminum foil. We're talking about space foil that can let Mike. Turds float around the universe.
Yes, Mike. It's one astronaut's job to whip out the Reynolds wrap and capture dumps in the air and then throw them out the window.
It's not the initial job. It's the backup. It's like, Terry, you knew this was coming.
I like that you also think the space vessel has just windows that open up that you could just not ruin everything. The pressurized. You talked about the pressurized cabin before. Now you think you can just open a space window and throw turds out.
Well, there'll be multiple windows. So
foil pack turds.
Yeah. So you foil up the turd. You open the one window. It doesn't go out to space. Close it, and then somebody hits a button, and then like a middle window goes and then moves down the conveyor belt, and then eventually like 4 or 5 buttons later, it's like, all right, now it went out to space.
I'm surprised you haven't applied for a career in turd foiling. I remember the guy at Shea Stadium. I worked at Shea Stadium for like a season. I think I told this story that I worked there anyway. Mm-hmm. And I did the last game at Shea. The photos. What did I do the first game at City? I don't remember. I think I did I went to the last game at Shea, worked. Anyway, there was a hot dog guy, and he was like the hot dog slinging expert, man. Like he had those foil dogs fly. Like he would ask you if you wanted a hot dog from like 6 rows down, not just your row, and he would toss them to people, and he would be a good turd foiler. Like he would be great at it.
Yeah. If they ever do a sequel to what was that movie with Bruce Willis? Was it Armageddon? Mm-hmm. The one where the drillers had to go up on the comet and all. I think the sequel should star your friend from City Field, turd foiling and all.
Now, I wish he was my friend. We never spoke. I just admired him.
You're too shy. Again, with the celebrities, you won't talk to them.
Well, wait till people find out who next week's guest is. The hot dog slinger from 23 years ago when I worked.
What do you do now? Just sit on a couch, do nothing.
And for the record, I worked at the Mets thing. Literally, I did not like it was supposed to be fan photography. I would just take a couple photos and then I would try to find like a seat and just kind of like watch some of the game. Cause it was like by the time I commuted from Jersey to Queens and came back, there was no money. Like I didn't make $1 doing it, but I I don't know where that is. I do have my like badge and paycheck somewhere from the Mets, the Sterling Mets organization. So.
And the dog foil. Yeah.
And the dog foil. But I'm curious, like, so I think this mission is going up for 10 days, I believe is the the trajectory of the trip, do you like, is there any part of you that was ever intrigued by going to space? Like, were you a little kid and be like, I want to be an astronaut?
Nothing that really comes to mind, really. I mean, it was always fascinated by it and stuff like that, but I don't think I ever had the desire or even as a kid where it's like, I'm going to be a football player, I'm going to be a dinosaur, I'm going to be a space astronaut. I didn't go to the third one.
Yeah, but you were a football player and dinosaur?
Yeah, both at the same time. Nobody could stop me, man.
Yeah, astronaut is right up there with me with like guys who are able to do submarines for like weeks on end and not move in that vessel. Like, horrifying to me. Like, just them like cramped in that thing. Float. The only cool part looks like floating around looks cool, but I feel like even by day 2, I'd be like, all right, I want to sit. Like I just want to. I don't want to be floating anymore.
Yeah, I also feel like they purposely had that one area of the spaceship just to do the media, woo, we're floating, we're in space kind of thing. Like, I guarantee you they're like, give us a scientific reason for this. It's just cool.
Yeah,
It's just what we do. We bounce from wall to wall.
And I saw like one kid design their little zero gravity stuffed animal that's supposed to like, when they're on camera, it shows you that it's floating the whole time. I'm a little curious why you didn't enter the competition, and if you did, what character would you design?
The dinosaur football player astronaut. I would just combine the 3. Like I said, I never got to stage 3.
Now,
but if I did, like I would have the football helmet on in space. I would be ginormous with a tail, and then I would be floating around, grabbing any floating objects with my tiny T-Rex hands.
So it's a dinosaur in an astronaut suit that also throws a football.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
But it comes down to like, like we're at war. Everybody hates everybody. And here we are. We have something that I think is kind of like a positive, cool thing, but we can't even have that. We can't even like go to space anymore and be like, this is pretty cool. We're discovering the other side of the moon. We instantly there people hate the astronauts, which I find insane.
Well, you kind of brought up a good point. Like, we're in the middle of this war and they're having toilet problems. Why couldn't they just like spurt it out? Like, that's a secret attack on Iran. Like, why are we sending our jet fighters and stuff like that? Let's just shoot turds from space into a foreign country and see what they do about it. I mean, they're not going to be able to reach them.
So let me get this straight. Your idea to end the war in Iran is to shoot a couple astronaut turds from the moon raining down on Iran. And you think they'll like submit and that'll be the end of it?
If you were a foreign country and this is coming down and we're like, there's more coming, you going to stick around for this fight?
All right. Okay, fine. This is up there with your how to get rid of the drones scenario where you said we should go above the drones and drop anvils on them.
Yeah, it's too far up space to drop anvils. We can't do that. But turds, I feel, is the perfect size targets for Iran.
But won't the turds just float in space? Like, how are we going to use them?
I mean, we'll put like weights on it or something scientific.
Weights.
That will,
yes.
Well, scientific space weights will bring the turds back into the atmosphere, and it'll have the foil on it so it can survive the atmosphere and fall on all the Iranian warriors or soldiers or whatever they call them, and within minutes they'll surrender.
I hope some Iranian listener listens to this episode and finds you because this man proposed throwing astronaut shit at us. Death to America. Like, I hope somehow you push the war into
of all the stories you've heard about this war, is mine really the most far out answer so far?
This is true. I did want to ask you, moving on to something different. I did want to ask you that last week you told a story about how your dad had a rival doctor and how he he was the one going up your butt, but he was like not your dad's friend, and he thought he thought your dad stole his girlfriend back in the day.
Yeah.
So I was cracking up about this the next day, like just sometimes something random from the podcast will pop in my head. I'm like, I just had this image of the doctor staring at your dad angrily, and you bent over, and him just being like, "This boy's gonna get rammed." Now you said there was more to the story that your dad told you. I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit.
Yeah. So for best I got of the story, and by the way, my dad was laughing his no pun intended ass off hearing the story. He elaborates. So yeah. So Dr. Parag, as I said, was our family doctor. He died. We just went to him as he took over the practice. For what my dad said, he had to get a similar kind of checkup, and he was in there, and I guess the wife of the doctor is like the assistant or whatever. So they're like, all right. She came in, she's like, you're going to have to get into a gown. Okay. So he starts undressing, he notices she's not leaving the room for some reason. So he's like, all right, I'll get down to like my underwear.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you have to get completely naked. And she wasn't leaving the room.
Oh, she
all right. So
Big Wild Hank out.
I guess so. Drop the drawers or whatever. And then she handed over the gown and left the room. So he puts on the gown. She comes back. She wants him to get on the table or whatever to start off like preliminary stuff. And what he said was like, he went on the table and she was like giving instructions, and she told him to like lay his hand out in a certain way where it's like over the table. So it's kind of like this right here. And what he said was she began whatever part of the examination it was, and literally she put her crotch right on his hand for whatever examination she was doing. And he's just like, I don't know what's going on. I ain't doing anything. I'm keeping my hand perfectly still during this whole thing. And then she like, whatever, finished up. And then she's like, all right, the doctor will see you soon after that. So that was the preliminary story to the revenge to Michael Burlew. So
this wasn't the wife that the doctor thought, the girlfriend that
I always heard the story like oh, they were whatever.
Yeah.
But that's basically what my dad described the story as, where she's like the assistant, and then there was that weird spot, and he's like, what the hell's going on? But
so she was like, all right, Mr. Burlew, put your arm out. I just want to check your blood pressure with my vagina.
As the story goes, that's what it sounds like. If I'm wrong, my dad listens every week. I'm sure I'll get a text. Oh, you forgot something, boy.
Look at Big Wild Hank just being such a attractive,
he's a pioneer.
Yeah, just the guy that the assistants are coming after and like doing new medical procedures on him.
Like when we were kids, and like they would have shows for like the old times, like the cowboys and the pioneers with the raccoon hats and all. This generation needs a Big Wild Hank story.
Well, I got another story. I'll save that one for later. That's kind of related. The other thing I wanted to follow up with you, last week we hung out a bit after the podcast, and we're talking about things in life and stuff you're going through, and you were power throwing. You were having a little mead party. I was having a couple beers. You were having a couple meads, just blowing off some steam. And then you text me the next morning. You said something like, oh boy, remind me to tell you about the morning after.
Follow up.
So yeah. I figured before we get to our first guest, you should enlighten the audience on what happened here.
Yeah. So, we got real last week, and I wanted to kind of get myself in a good spot or whatever. So I opened up a bottle of mead, like a real size bottle, and I never in my life do I go through a bottle of anything. Like I'm not one of people where you're like, oh, I went through a bottle of Jack last night or whatever. It's never been my thing, but it was going down smooth that night, and polished off an entire bottle of mead. And as we extended the conversation, went upstairs, got a beer, and we followed up there. So I go to bed, and I get dehydration issues. And Scott, what's the number one thing that's been coming up on the podcast that happens when I get dehydrated? Do you recall?
Mike, you've been known to get some cramps, a little bit of cramping going on.
Yep. So my wake-up call the next morning was a 4 a.m. Charlie horse as I'm trying to dash out of the bed and put weight on the floor, kind of get my body going right there. All right, so good. Finally calm down, go back to bed, probably wake up 3 hours later. The other leg decides it's going to try to start it. Got on the ground before it went into full cramp mode.
Mm-hmm.
So body's just literally reminding me, you don't understand. I kind of need hydration here or whatever. Kind of push it off or whatever. Gonna be a good day, whatever. Getting ready for my bath and all. I was down at the parents for a few days. They don't have a bathtub. They got a nice like waterfall kind of huge shower in their house. Like it's really cool. They got seats there if you need to when you shower and all.
Who knows what Big Wild Hank does on that seat, man.
One side note, like I noticed like the bathroom mirror on the side when you're in that thing, you can just see yourself right in the bathroom mirror taking a shower if you're kind of into that stuff. But
wow, Big Wild Hank, I'm learning so much about him.
I don't think Big Wild Hank does stuff with it, but then again, it's Big Wild Hank.
Yeah, you never know. Wild card, baby.
So I'm getting ready for my nice bath. I haven't had it in a while. You know, I was talking about the back being stiff the last few days. I'm about to turn on the hot water, and all of a sudden I get a real burning sensation in my foot. And I'm like, what in the world? And I flip my foot up to kind of see what happens, and out bee in my bathroom. And I will preface, I don't have a window that opens up in the bathroom. I have seen no signs of bees being out yet somehow this bee got into my house. I've been keeping the bedroom door closed, so went under the door, went into my bathroom, and was sitting there on the floor waiting for something, and just stung me out of the blue.
You have a shower bee that stung your foot.
Yeah, a bath bee, I would like to say.
That is true. You do take creepy baths.
Yes.
You got stung in your bathtub.
Yeah, totally naked, flinging the bee into the bath. I turned on the water. It was like flicking around or whatever, went into the drain. I'm like, good. I let water go down there, and then I close up the drain just to let it drown. Or who knows, maybe I'm the one person with a bee's nest in my bathroom tub, because that would be Michael Burlow for you.
Now, how bad was the sting? Were you flailing around in the water? Were you what was the reaction?
It was burning probably for most of the day. It was one of those weird, there were times during the day where I just had to stop, go get an ice cube from the freezer and put it on the bee sting, as I still contemplate, where the F did this single bee come from, and why was it waiting for me in the bathroom?
I figured it out. I know exactly why.
You did.
Because what are bees attracted to?
Honey.
What is mead made from?
Oh, snap. I chugged too much, Scott.
You had
too close to the sun, and my wings melted.
You had mead coming through your toes, and that bee saw that succulent foot of yours, and
wait till the queen sees this.
Yeah. Burlow's foot honey is delicious.
I figure you make wine squishing grapes and all. Why can't I step on a beehive and make honey?
Well, that is a new one. I got stung when I was a kid, just driving in the car with my dad. And I went to scratch my face with my shoulder, and there was a bee on my shoulder, and he stung me right in the neck. And I just started screaming. My dad's like, "What?" We're in the middle of the highway, and I just got stung right in the neck, and I'm like, "Ah!" But a foot bee in the bathtub is a new one. I have not heard. Okay.
Yes. While I'm flaring butt naked, you know.
Now, would you like me to send you the beekeeper hat that you sent me after my hornet attack so you could wear it in the bathtub?
I need you to adapt it for my foot to keep it extra safe. Apparently, they're low-flying bees that they're going under closed doors and into bathrooms waiting for feet. So,
oh, good. So when you get ready to take a tub, you got to put your bee shoes on.
Yes. I have to have the net on there and all that fun stuff.
Now, I was appalled that you send me footage of your thighs in the bathtub before, but I'm kind of wishing you were recording during this bath and I could have seen the reaction of your foot bee.
Gonna take a little extra for the soap. Still getting through the burning in my foot. It's all good.
Well, that's a different one, Mike. That is a different one. I'm glad you are recovered. But like I said, we have two guests today, and I'll explain why we are putting the second one on later. But Mike, who do we got first?
Well, in the beer world earlier this year, Scott, we received headlines about a beer called Nature Calls. It's a lager that was infused with bear poop. This was made in collaboration with Columbia Sportswear and Breakside Brewery in Oregon. To get the scoop, I
got it.
On this project, we have the owner of Breakside Brewery on tonight. Scott, we got Scott Lawrence on the show.
Let's talk about bear shit and beer. It's Scott Lawrence.
So, Scott, I'm guessing everybody who has been contacting you is asking you about the same thing right about now. So I'm going to try to get a little backstory before we go into that one beer that we're questioning about. So I guess my start off question is, in looking things up, most people don't say their business success was getting drunk on an Alaska trip, but here you are today. Can you kind of describe the early days of Breakside Brewery?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, that is kind of how it happened. But I just like eating and drinking with friends and wanted to figure out how to make that my job. It's something I'd like stewed on for a bit on some long hikes and other things. But yeah, I used to sell software. I did supply chain consulting in the Southeast, lived in Charleston for a long time and Charlotte. Spent a decent amount of time in Atlanta. But yeah, I just moved to Oregon. It was one of 4 states I hadn't been to yet. So I went to visit. I rented a furnished place, didn't know anybody in Oregon. And not too long after I got here, me and some buddies went up to Alaska on a kayaking trip. And we spent a handful of days in the wilderness north of Juneau, like out in the water, and camping on these, beaches, basically 45 minutes from the nearest electricity, 45 miles, I'm sorry, from the nearest electricity. And once we got done with that, we went back to Juneau and while we were sitting at the Juneau Brewery, I had a bunch of pints in me, and I started kind of grinning ear to ear. And my buddy Bill looked at me. He's like, "Why are you smiling so big?" And I was like, real buzzed. But I was like, "This is it. I'm gonna quit my job and start a brewery." And so I did.
Awesome. Now, the early stages of every brewery are quite interesting. Now, did you guys go from like a homebrew setup and start building up to like a smaller bottler and fermenter and whatnot? Did you go up in size quickly, or did you start at the size you needed?
No, I mean, we kind of grew kind of quickly, but it was, I didn't have any idea what we were doing. And
okay.
I got back from, I was not a brewer.
Gotcha.
I drank plenty of beer, but definitely not a brewer. And I didn't have the money to start a winery. I probably knew more about wine than I did about beer at the time. And, but I got back from that trip. It was like somewhere middle of August of 2009. And I was like, this is probably going to take me 3 years. I'm gonna have to put a business plan together. I'm gonna have to raise money, do everything that I think a business should do when it's getting started. And like a week later, I was like, you know what? I know me. I've got a cushy sales job. I don't work a lot. It's pretty good income. And if I don't do this right now, I'm not going to do it. So I just came up with a plan to find a neighborhood in Portland that needed one. And I got out the map that showed where all the breweries were in the greater Portland area. Maybe there were 60 or something, 70 at the time. I mean, quite a few, but I found two big gaps where there wasn't one. And one was in Northeast Portland. And I rode my bike up there and found this great location but it had dirt floors and nothing in it. But I signed a lease on the building like that weekend with no beer experience, my total restaurant experience was working at an Applebee's for 6 months while I was in college, which I hated, outside of the camaraderie, I should say. But I definitely got tired of getting people more ketchup and more ketchup and more ketchup. So we signed a lease, and so that was like Labor Day weekend of 2009, and I had a new Range Rover. I sold it. I emptied my 401k, charged up my credit cards, and we built a small brewery in a basement. And even then it was like, it was a small brewery that, like, when you brewed a batch of beer, it made 6 kegs at a time. It was a 3-barrel system. Mm-hmm. So we had, a 3-barrel system with a 3-barrel fermenter and a 7-barrel fermenter, so we could do double batches. And that it was in a basement. I mean, it was, we about went bankrupt so many times. And even as we were getting started, jumping in and not always going over detail, I didn't think that the government was involved in regulating a brewery. Really, really foolish, right? We were about a month from opening, and somebody said to me, how'd you get your TTB license so fast? And I said, what's the TTB? And so, our first 6 months, we couldn't even make our own beer. We were selling guest beers exclusively. So, it was a experience of trial and error, but luckily we didn't go bankrupt, and we were able to grow and do a lot of fun things along the way.
Well, it's funny, as you were telling that story, I was like, this sounds like the easiest beer opening, brewery lease thing I've ever heard. He's just like, I went and got a lease. I got it. It was fun. But then you started getting into what I wanted to ask you, because here in New Jersey, I know it's just like a royal pain in the ass to open a brewery. I remember even like looking into it when I was like a hobbyist, just like the licenses and everything. And then you started to mention some of the hoops you had to go through. Was it a painstaking process in Oregon to open the brewery?
The state was really easy to work with, frankly. There's not a ton of licensing, or if the stuff that is, it's inexpensive and kind of easy to do. State makes it pretty easy from that side. They might tax you a lot now that once you're open, because it's Oregon, we have high taxes, but it was more, and even the federal stuff wasn't, onerous, wasn't super difficult. It was just, it's a 6-month process probably of, filling out all kinds of forms and diagrams and everything else that they want. Yeah. So, and that was something I didn't know. And luckily we were able to, the neighborhood supported us. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because we had Sam Calgione from Dogfish, and he kind of had somewhat a similar story of yours, how he was talking about, he was putting up a sign of his restaurant/brewery, and he's hanging the sign. A gentleman comes by and he literally says, breweries are illegal in the state, right? He had to go through the whole thing, and he had to work through the government on that.
Worked out for him, though.
It did. It worked out really well. He's I bought that book, Brewing Up a Business. I think it was called Sam's book. Okay, yeah. And I bought that before when we were starting. Yeah. And we bought that first system that he was, that he used, and that he was kind of, sponsoring, pushing, however you want to call it. But we moved away from that one pretty quick. But yeah, Sam's great. I've actually been lucky enough to meet him a handful of times and even pour beers together at an event once that we did. We were at in Philly at the Italy there downtown. We did a joint Dogfish Breakside event that was pretty fun. So Sam and I were behind the bar pouring beers to customers together. It was a real hoot.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So you go from not being able to buy eggs to starting your brewery to having multiple locations. Kind of tell the audience, what are the staple beers of Breakside right now before we get into that special beer that we want to talk about.
Yeah, that's fun. You read someplace about my not being able to buy those $5 eggs. Yeah. That felt like a low point, to say the least. In 2014, our flagship IPA, it's called Breakside IPA, won gold at the Great American Beer Festival. So that's the largest, kind of most prestigious beer competition in North America, at least, maybe the world. And that really helped us take off, so to speak. So we started making a second IPA called Wonderlust. And between Breakside IPA and Wonderlust, those have won dozens of medals at various competitions, including multiple awards at that Great American Beer Festival. And we've just really had a wild run, but we still probably do over 100 different beers every year. We have 3 different breweries, still that small one I mentioned at our first location up in Northeast Portland, then a kind of a mid-sized one, a large, more of a production facility. But yeah, our two biggest selling beers are our Breakside IPA and Wonderlust IPA.
With the we hear in the market constantly with like the interest in drinking is going down amongst younger kids especially, and we've seen a couple breweries here in Jersey kind of fold up in the last year where I thought it was never going to stop. The boom was never going to stop. Do you notice that affecting you guys, or is that more on like a major scale? Does it affect you guys too?
Oh, it impacts us a ton for sure. I mean, it's in 16 and 17, I think every brewery, regardless of their quality, was growing, right? Just everybody was drinking local beer all over the country, and even in the South, right? When I lived in Charleston, Charlotte, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were hardly any breweries.
Right.
Now they're everywhere. And when we opened our doors in 2010, there were about 1,600 breweries in the country. And a year ago, there were some 11,000, so it did more than 6x. And that's just tough, right? You could have an unlimited number of little neighborhood brew pubs, basically a small Chili's or an Applebee's that makes its own beer.
For sure.
But with all these breweries trying to fight for shelf space, there's a glut. I mean, and we've noticed it here. There's been a number of breweries in the Pacific Northwest that have closed, even some big ones like Rogue. Rogue was, back.
I never thought I'd sell that. Yeah.
Right. The Dead Guy was like one of my first beers that I was drinking, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, even in Charleston.
Yep.
So that's, I definitely think people are drinking a little bit less, and it's a wave of sorts, it might come back around, or maybe they're doing, having edibles more often, or cannabis infused beverages, or, just not, not partaking in any kind of, whatever you want to call it.
I
Escape.
Call it fun. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yes. Amen.
So let's dive into it. So brewery's doing great. I'm happy to hear the backstory and everything, but making a lot of national news is this collaboration with Columbia for Nature Calls. A beer that is brewed with water that is, do we say infused with bear poop? Is that the proper term we're using on this?
Sure. It has real bear shit in it. Yeah.
So I guess who raised their hand and said, I have an idea here? I mean, who started the ball rolling on this thing?
Yeah, the guys at Columbia. I mean, it was Joe and Tim Boyle. Joe, Tim is their CEO. It was his parents that started the company, and Joe is he was executive vice president. Now I think he's co-president. Likely will eventually be CEO. And he's a friend of mine, and he called me 4 or 5 months ago, just kind of out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a minute to jump on a call with me and my dad?" And in my head, I'm thinking, hey, maybe we're going on a golf trip. This sounds awesome. So I was like, sure, of course. Yeah. If Joe and Tim Boyle want to have a call. And we get on the call, and Joe's kind of grinning, like a mischievous kid, like he's up to something. And they tell me, they're like, hey, we have an idea. We've got a new advertising firm out of London called Adam and Eve that we're real jazzed on. And they've got some wild ideas on how we can, kind of get back to some of our roots and drum up some fun PR and marketing from. And he said, we want to make, and see if you'll do this with us, make a beer that has bear shit in it. And
is this what CEOs with too much money just do? They're just like, let's see if we can sell a bear shit beer.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the way I'd phrase it, maybe, but it's an interesting way to spin it. No, I think like for a long time, for decades, Columbia had this mantra, this real grit, and this, their apparel that I think the gist behind it, right? This apparel that can go anywhere, do anything. And
Sure.
yeah, I think they were just trying to think of outlandish ideas. And when that idea was presented to them, I mean, that's about as outlandish as it gets. I mean, I don't think it's ever happened. There's, they make some beers in Scandinavia and Iceland, I think, that are smoked beers that use like sheep dung.
I had a whiskey from Iceland that was like burned in a cave with sheep dung or something like that. It was actually delicious.
Yeah. So I think, maybe something like that inspired it, but yeah, that was their idea. And I kind of said no initially, or I responded with like, maybe. I don't know. Let me ask my
I would
team.
respond why would probably be.
Like, was there a discussion on what kind of animal poop, out of curiosity, where you're like, I won't do bear, maybe deer. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, it was bear right out of the gate. I think that had the biggest shock value, probably. It just is the largest land predator in North America.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where it came from. And, Colombia had someone, somebody high up over there that one of their friends or family members, wanted to walk into the woods in Montana and actually find a pile of bear poop and use it. So, that's what they did. They actually collected this specimen in Montana, in the woods, completely wild, and, put the whole pile in a double Ziploc bag and sent it to Colombia, and it sat in Colombia's one of their like employee kitchen freezers for a couple of years.
But I gotta ask.
Sorry, a couple months. Not.
I gotta ask again. Why the bear poop? Like, is there some like benefit or something that we don't know about, or is there flavor that we don't know about?
No, not at all. Just for fun, just because you can. And wow, in the brewing process, you're going to get out, because of the temperatures, you're boiling essentially the water at, and all the filtration process, you're getting out 100% of anything that's negative in there. So it's just something they did to draw attention, to be like, hey, look what we can do, kind of. And it worked, right?
Yeah.
It was outlandish.
Here we are today.
I think they had, more than 100 million views and impressions on this.
Wow.
I mean, it was 12 million or something like that in the first 24 hours it was out. Just really a wild project, to say the least.
Now, when you're starting to brew this, do you have to work with like the FDA or anything like that, where they because I know they like test everything from like how many bugs are in there, how much poop is in there, whatever. Do you have to prove like, no, it's so low, we're good?
Or can I see your bear shit license? Like,
exactly. I have it on my driver's license. It's kind of like, like being an organ donor. I've got that on there as well. We definitely submitted everything to the FDA and the Department of Agriculture and got it approved-ish. We thought it was all approved. The news came out on, and that was just all online. But the news came out on Wednesdays when all the info was released. And I was actually on a golf trip 2 days later at Bandon Dunes, on the Oregon coast, probably the best golf destination in the country. But we just gotten there. I was maybe 12 holes in on the first, our first round, whatever. Had a couple sodas in me, and I hadn't checked my phone in a couple hours. And I pulled out my phone, and I had 100 new texts and 20 missed calls, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And
breweries on
from
fire.
a couple of my key people, and the feds were at our brewery, and they wanted to see the record, see the logs, take samples, do all kinds of stuff, and we were fairly worried they were going to shut us down. The TTP guys were at the Department of Ag, as you just mentioned, and luckily they went. After a day, they went through all of our records, took samples, checked our logs, just made sure everything was on the up and up, and cleared us. Our logs. Jeez. Nice.
Sorry, it was there for the taking.
It was right. Hey, we're probably of a certain age where those jokes just they come out pretty easy, right?
Yeah. Oh, they sure
our dad
do.
jokes.
They come out real easy. Oh God. So what is the overall, like, first off, tell us for people listening who might be like in the area, like, what does this thing taste like? What can people expect? Like, what is the style of this beer? If they're willing enough to come try it.
Yep. It is a blackberry honey lager. Huckleberry honey lager. Huckleberry is what it was. Sorry. It's really nice and refreshing. I mean, it is a light, crisp lager with some huckleberry and honey in it. And it's just got it's probably ideal for early summer, sitting outside. The guys, some professional beer drinkers of sorts, beer judgers at the Oregonian here did a little taste test of it, and both gave it like 4.7 and 5 out of 5. It tastes great. You wouldn't have any idea outside of the fact that it says on the can that it has bear poo in it.
Now the huckleberry and honey isn't what from the bear, right? It is
no, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's added. Yeah.
Now, out of curiosity, are people more scared to drink it, or do you almost get the opposite where they're almost hoping as they're opening it, oh, this better tastes terrible, and it's like, oh, this is kind of good. I was hoping to be gasping right now.
I'm not totally sure. I mean, we were all super surprised at how many people wanted to drink it. I mean, we've got 8 of our own locations essentially in the Portland area, and each one of those locations was getting a shipment of multiple cases of these every day, or dozens of cases. And every day in the first 15 minutes we were open, there'd be a line and it'd be sold out. And it's weird, right? Like, I wouldn't think that anybody would want to line up for a beer that has poop in it, but I think the novelty of it and the fact that it's, on things like the Today Show or, NPR or our local media, whatever it might be, it just made people want to try it. And those people in town know that we make pretty decent beer. So I don't know. So it gave them the blind confidence to try it. Weird thing though. I think it's pretty weird.
It's definitely weird. Like, speaking of Rogue, I think it was Rogue back in the day. I remember trying a beer where they harvested yeast from somebody's beard. I think it was called beard beer.
Right.
I thought that was the weirdest thing I maybe have tried, but there's still time to try this.
There's still time.
Beer.
There's still time.
Yeah, we can get those Gwyneth Paltrow candles that she sold. Maybe make a beer out of that. I mean, maybe that's the next step here for all of us.
We should Sweeney soap.
Yeah.
Just
just
every
crowd
kind
ideas.
of fluid possible. Right. I even see on the Columbia side they got Tommy DeVito wearing your gear for the beer and all. So this is kind of crazy and all.
It's crazy. Yeah, there were a couple of the Seahawks players that reached out to Columbia, like DeMarcus Lawrence, one of their defensive linemen, reached out and wanted to get some beer sent to him because he just wanted to try it. And this was like the week of the Super Bowl. He said he wanted to have it at the Super Bowl so he could have it before or after the game, whether he won or lost.
That would have been the ultimate moment for you, like him having one of those post game.
I know. I mean, Columbia has been thrilled with the whole process. I mean, it's just been fun, awesome. And that's, not taking yourself too seriously, I think is a perk sometimes, right? To get to play around and see what comes of it. And it leads to things like this. It's ridiculous, but kind of fun.
Yeah, totally.
Are we going to see this like nationally dispersed, or can you only get it in Portland? Is there any plans to get it out where people can just grab it off the shelves with all the success?
No. I mean,
it's a lot of bear
maybe
shit.
We'll do something again sometime, or maybe we'll do like a cellar aged version. We'll, sit on some bear shit for a year and let it age, really get it nice and ripe. Yeah, cave age.
Yeah.
No other plans for it right now. We did. Really, it was like a few thousand cases worth. So pretty small production for us, and it all sold out in the first really couple days. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do something for April Fool's Day or something this year or next. But right now, it was just available here in Oregon, and they had it in California at the Super Bowl and stuff. But it's already all sold out at this point.
What's the staff's reaction when you're like, all right, guys, like when you pull your brewers in and you're like, we have this, I want you to stop on the projects you're working on, and we're going to develop a bear shit beer this week.
Yep. I got immediately, I immediately got negative feedback for sure. They're like, no, we can't, nor should we do this. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. We could maybe lose our license doing this, or who knows what. Something goes wrong and something happens and we get sued, or who knows what, right? It's outlandish, like I said. But then we had more conversations about it. I was like, there's got to be a way we can do this and have it be safe and have it be fun. And it's Columbia's a big company. We're a small company. Like let's. It feels like the right thing to do from a fun and media standpoint. So through a number of conversations, I coerced them essentially.
Well, it's been fun chatting with you. I know it's just a hilarious story, and it's great to see local breweries getting like national attention like this, where we see so many stories about them shutting down here and there and so forth. So we appreciate you coming on and talking with us. If people want to check out your brewery or anything going on events wise, where the best places to go?
Yeah, I mean, our website, breakside.com, has got info. We've got 8 locations, like I said, in this general area.
Oh, wow.
We mostly distribute on the West Coast, but we have like a couple fun things coming out too. We bought a winery a year ago, and that's been a hoot. And we're doing a project. There's a podcaster, actually, that's a buddy of mine, used to be an ESPN guy named Ryan Russillo. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ryan, but yeah, so we're doing a wine with him that's got an absolutely silly label. It's like this, he likes history a lot. So we've got him in like an admiral's jacket on a sailboat. And he likes Sauvignon Blanc. So we're doing this Russillo Sauvignon Blanc that's launching in like 2 or 3 weeks. So that'll be out. And I think, he put some photos on his own like feeds, Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. And I think it got like 1 million views right out of the gate. So we've had a bunch of anticipated orders coming for that. So that'll be a fun thing we have coming out. And, that's just with a winery that we have. But, outside of that, we just do our normal daily, making our IPAs, making our Pilsners, and just kind of seeing what else comes our way.
Now, final question is, now that you're moving on to wineries, are you going to make like a jail toilet wine to celebrate and kind of move forward just like here?
No, we don't have anything like that yet. Nothing like that. Maybe just a couple folks that are, in the sports world. Maybe we'll make a couple wines just because it's fun. And, I think we're going to donate a lot of the proceeds from that, but it's just kind of a fun thing to do together. I mean, again, we're not, curing diseases or trying to solve, world wars. We're making beer and making wine and just trying to have a good time with it.
Yeah. Well, the last thing for me, I'd be remiss here if I didn't bring up my co-host here, and I want to get your opinion on this. Months ago, we were talking about Sydney Sweeney and the soap she put out. Okay. It was her bathwater soap, and it was a limited run by, I think, Dr. Squatch or whatever that soap brand is.
You guys trying to get me in trouble here?
No.
If my wife listens to this, I don't know what I should say.
No.
Yeah.
So the joke was of that episode that, Mike, you should, be funny if you made your own soap and see, try to sell it to our audience as a joke. Time goes by, just a silly, a silly conversation. Christmas comes. We always send each other a gift on the podcast, and I open up a bar of soap, and this man steeped himself in the tub and then made his own soap and sent it to me. Please tell me that I am right in just being disgusted by this.
Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah. It's disgusting.
God, how dare you? I brought you onto my show and you do this to me. I'm insulted.
I'm picturing the terrible thoughts, really, of like a couple of my buddies in a bathtub. I mean, I just can't believe this is where you took my thoughts here. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. But getting soap from your buddy after he laid in a bathtub, I find that unappealing.
So he knew the process. I did send videos, and he can back that up.
Oh, he sent videos.
You guys must know each other really well. That's great.
I have nightmares of my 3-year-old, my 5-year-old, and my 2-year-old, running up to me with the soap in their hand and just being like, "No."
Nice work. Well, hopefully you can get creative with your own ideas to send him an appropriate return gift.
Yeah. Mike will send some over to you.
Yeah. Scott, thank you so
Nice.
much. Again, Breakside Brewery, we wish you continued success. And if you do this Columbia thing again or whatever, we'd love to get a couple beers and all and try it on the show if it's possible.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think I have like 4 cases sat aside for me in a cooler someplace. If you guys want to send me an address, and I'll get a couple of beers sent your way, and you guys can try it.
Yeah, well,
we
it'll be cool.
appreciate
This
it,
will be
man.
up in a couple of weeks. We'll try it on the episode with that your interviews in. So
Nice. Okay.
yeah.
Thank
Sounds
you
great.
so much, Scott.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Have a great night.
All right, Mike, Scott, Lawrence. Hoping one day we get to try that beer. He did sell me on it after a while. After a bit. I will say at first it sounded a little strange. Okay, but I had sheep dung whiskey or scotch from Iceland before, and that was
okay.
It was smoked and not bad at all. So I would definitely try it.
So if we blindfolded you and say name the alcohol and name the turd, do you think you could win that contest?
No, I'm not like a cicerone of turds, Mike. I tried it once.
Well, you say like you're not satisfied in your career. I mean, why haven't you developed that flavoring and all and be able to tell people?
Why don't we start with the astronauts and make a beer from them?
Yeah. Get some space juices, mix it up with the turds, and smoke it up and bottle it and barrel it for like 10 years.
Space juices, yes. Well, Scott Lawrence, everybody. Mike, I pop on Facebook the other day, and I see a picture of my aunt in a hospital, in a hospital bed, and instantly I'm like, oh, what happened? Mike, I sent you the picture of.
I've gotten it.
It should be coming to you. It says it went to you. But I guess it's in the information superhighway currently.
Take your time.
I'll explain a little bit. So I see that she's in the hospital bed and has a post about it. So of course I have to read the post, see what's going on with my aunt. And Mike, when you get that, I want you to read the post. Just read it.
So this is how my week ended. Since Saturday, I have had a severe throat infection, nasty pussy, slight fever, and no eating or drinking until Ed threatened me with either the ER and urgent care that will do and IV for hydration. I'm reading her ands. This is not the usual Burloo mess ups here. 3 road trip was... third trip was the charm. Finally feeling better, at least. I ate half a yogurt and some chicken soup is more than I have eaten in the last week.
Now, the first 2 lines there, Mike, threw me into hysterical laughter because this aunt is known to be a little bit of the vulgar one in the group occasionally. Can sometimes be a little off color in family settings where we're like, oh, that's our aunt, that's our Aunt Denise, she's
queen of the TMI.
Yeah, the TMI aunt. Now I read it again and I'm like, oh my god, did she just post that she has a severe throat infection and a nasty
well, I like how she followed up with slight fever, as if I haven't described it enough yet. Like I'm going to rank the issues, and the vagina situation goes to 2, but the slight fever is also worth noting.
So I immediately take a screenshot, send it to my cousins, my brother, sister, mom, aunt. I'm like, please, somebody read this, and everybody goes, oh my god. Now, my first thing is like, even she can't be that vulgar, and put that out there. So the best thing was like, I go to the comment section, and first a bunch of people are like, "Oh my God, Denise, feel better, feel better, feel better," and then someone's like, "Feel better, but nasty pussy, TMI." Oh my God. So I started saying with my cousins, I'm like, "Do you think she meant that?" Because she would be the one to say that, or did it autocorrect from something else, which is
Like
almost
nasty pus.
bingo, okay, but which is almost worse because that means she probably uses that. You know how your phone like will autocorrect things you use frequently.
I know what you're thinking about.
So I'm like, oh God, is she just using that, like texting that with other people all the time? And yes, Mike, couple comments later, an hour maybe goes by, and she changes it, and it's a nasty pus filled throat or something like that. But literally all of Easter, I am just joking with my brother and sister, is this food good or is it nasty? Like the whole day. I'm like, hope no one has a nasty day.
Yeah. I will also add to this, like as Scott got the screenshot, I'm looking at the picture of her, and it looks like she's about to show that nasty thing. Like I'm somewhat joking, but I'm somewhat not joking by saying she's somewhat trying to look provocative in this damn picture. Like her hair is all coiled out, and she's kind of got like duck lips going. And like I said, like her knees are up, but they're also on angles, which is in the perfect position to kind of like doctor comes in, what's the problem? Well, I got this throat thing, but
I also have
wide.
the big NP over here. Yeah. I was also laughing. I was also laughing and thinking of people commenting, being like, reading it and then going, I guess get better. Like that is disgusting. Like those two words together are so disgusting.
Yeah. Do you think that was a medical term? Like, did the doctor come in and be like, we ran a few tests, you got a slight infection in your throat. We send out to the labs and all, and you do have at least a minor case of nasty pussy.
Yeah, you got NP case simplex 1. You're gonna have to go plop it on Big Wild Hank's hand to heal it up.
Wow, those two stories went up together pretty well.
Yeah. But it is still, I'll just text my brother or sister like randomly because it still makes me chuckle during the day that she posted that. And then she doesn't take it. Like if you posted like, oh my God, I'm suffering from disgusting penis, and you meant like the sniffles. Wouldn't you take the status down immediately? Like, oh my God, what did I just put? She just leaves it up there. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It is. And it's like the one person in the family that we would expect this to, like, we laugh at the absurdity of things she says. So this just adds another story at Christmas Eve that I will be keeping alive for a very long time.
Yeah, like, will you be asking her? I mean, you're feeling better. Is it more succulent pee than NP now, or what's going on?
Don't ever say succulent pee ever again. That's
I can't make any guarantees, Scott. That seems like a great term that I could use in my regular language.
But it was the funniest freaking thing, man. I'm still just laughing at it, like, because it's of all people, it's like, oh God, of course Aunt Denise posts that and doesn't take it down.
Does she have to go to like a super gynecologist now? Because with the term, like, you can't go to like a rookie gynecologist. You got the nasty pee.
You got the nasty pee. The best part was my mom.
Sorry, I haven't done doctoring this long. Sorry, you got to go to an expert.
Best part is my mom, who, she's like very innocent. Like, she doesn't, even when we're making like inappropriate jokes, she tries to like fly not above us. Like, doesn't acknowledge it. I guess she didn't read it the right way. So she's on the text thread. She's like, oh my God, like, make sure you drink lots of water. And we're like, Mom, I'm sending you the picture, not Aunt Denise. She didn't. I thought she meant drink lot. Oh, she said something like, oh my God, hope you're okay. Make sure you drink lots. I thought she was talking to us, like, drink a lot after reading that status. But she definitely didn't get it until like the next day, until we had to tell her, like, read the status again. And she's like, oh my God.
Why do you think all these doctors say drink 8 glasses of water? you don't want the nasty pee. You got to go 8 aquas off the bat.
Well, Mike, what do you got before we get to our ending and last guest here?
Yeah, so I was down at the parents' for Easter. It was raining most of the day, but the sky opened up and I didn't want to sit around. And I said, you know what? I got my 2 dogs with me. I'm taking them to the dog park and all. I mean, try to get Vader running around. Leia usually stays by me, but get their heart going, pants, all that fun stuff. And also I look on the internet and I find this dog park 15 minutes away. And I come there, I'm like, oh, wow, this is beautiful, large park.
Right.
I'm coming
not
to.
nasty at all.
No, not nasty. No, I would never describe a park like there's nasty peas, but that pea was succulent.
It was
So anyway, so I look over on the right, and that's the small dog park, and I see one gentleman like leaving it. I think there was only like one dog over there, which was fine. And on the other side is the large dog park where I'm gonna take my dogs. And I kind of thought I saw a guy coming out of the small dog park to come over in this direction. So getting the pups out of the car, getting them calmed down, starting to walk with them on leashes. And I notice a guy is just following me into the dog park. A gentleman with no dog at all following me directly into the dog park. And let's say it got very awkward very fast with this gentleman. Like this second I'm just going in there figuring maybe he had a small dog he was bringing in there. Nope, just a regular day where he goes into the large dog park and sits at the picnic table and asks the one guy who just came in a bunch of questions about his life.
Now, this could be you before dogs.
I will preface, I never alone went in a dog park when I didn't have a dog. Now, when I was with the wife at the time, once in a while, if we were like walking in the park and there we'd be a dog park, we would stop in as a couple to go in just to kind of ease the weirdness of going into a dog park without a dog. But this gentleman was wearing a green Care Bears t-shirt.
Nice.
He had striped, colorful shorts.
Awesome.
And he just kept asking me infinite questions about where I was from, talking about the dogs. He was like, oh, where are you coming from? What are you doing? It got very uncomfortable very fast. And like I would find a random tennis ball and throw it to Vader.
I hope the guy chased it.
No, but he's like, hey, there's a ball thrower right here if you want. Like, he was just like extra a little weird. And like, then there's a thought like, okay, there's like a kids park over there. Maybe like the wife brought him over or something like that. But no, he showed no signs. And like every time somebody new would be in there, it's like, maybe somebody's coming in. And it's so like,
this guy definitely mentally ill.
Yeah, there's
right off the bat. Yeah,
the kid. No, that wagon's for kids. They're going in the kids park and all. So there's like a 15-minute stretch that I am the most uncomfortable I ever been in the dog park in my life. I either like a ton of people where I could talk to them or no people where it could be quiet. There is nothing worse than a random person who gives me the skeebies, giving me all the attention. Now, on top of it, as I'm like in my head begging for somebody to show up at this dog park, if you recall my picture on Easter where I said most people have colorful eggs and chocolate bunnies, I have a colorful dog and a chocolate lab, and I had a little extra part.
A man in colorful shorts.
No, but my part was, now granted, also just grabbing stuff to go down to the parents, I picked up, which ended up being a St. Patrick's t-shirt. So I'm wearing a St. Patrick t-shirt. He's wearing a green Care Bears shirt that has the phrase "feeling lucky" on it. And then a thought process came to me, as much as I want somebody to come in, I'm like, wait a minute, somebody comes in, they're probably going to think we're a gay couple taking our dogs into the dog park on Easter.
Now, did you check him out? Did he have a nasty pee, or was it?
I did not. I would assume a fupa. He had a very large gut that was hanging down. It wasn't rainbow shorts, but it was very colorful. So, if I swung the other way, it would have been the first pick. Would be my point.
Gotcha. So he more than likely had a nasty pee himself.
Yes, very likely. And even as I got to the point of so uncomfortable, I'm like, you know what? I'm taking the dogs home. He followed me out of the dog park the entire way as I was trying to just run it. And he said something to like, oh, your car is kind of like mine or whatever. And I just threw the dogs in. But I believe I saw the car he got into. I noticed he didn't drive away when it was done. So I think he just stays there all day waiting for people to go into the dog park to have conversations with them.
You got to try to find like that dog park on like a Facebook group or something and see if people have made comments about this guy before. And feel like, don't go there.
Don't tell me you got feeling lucky.
The weird Care Bear man is roams.
All right, that's a part of the title this week.
Yeah. We have many options this week.
Very.
Real quick, Mike, before we get to our last guest, we can't mention this without you sent us a photo the other day that your mom sent us. That your mom sent you, I mean. Okay. From New Jersey 1015.
That one. Gotcha.
Yeah, you sent this. You said your mom sent this to me. A body was found on the Patriots Path in Morristown on Wednesday, making a troubled second death on this popular hiking trail in less than a year. Now, Mike, why would your mom be sending you pictures about a body disappearing?
Well, my mom would probably see that I used to work in Morristown and be more like, isn't this scary?
Likely story.
Yes, that's why my mom would send it. Now, you and our other friends had other questions about this.
This is your mom basically saying, son, was this one you again? Like, I feel like your mom's been covering for you for a long time.
Scott, I have been in Georgia for quite a long time. I have not been in New Jersey since your 40th birthday. So
I don't know. We should check those Easy Pass records, man. You do have a car. You have been going through a lot. You might have been a little angry, and you're like, I'm going back to my old stomping grounds, and somebody is gonna die.
So, like, I'm in the car and I'm driving. I'm going 2 hours for my cup of coffee, and you're saying I just snapped and went another 14.
That's how it. In my mind, that seems like a perfectly plausible scenario.
Yes, and the top it as I sent it to you first, where you had your laughs and you're like, you put the GIF and another one and another one and another one and another one.
Yeah, DJ Khaled. Yep.
From DJ Khaled. Maybe 10 minutes later, Dom in the group text puts the article right dead there where I'm like, okay, now the whole group is assuming Mass Murderer Mike is back.
Mass Murderer Mike is back, baby.
It is a cool nickname. I mean, probably won't use it as much as the Burrows, but still.
I mean, Mixmaster Mike was pretty cool, but Mass Murderer Mike is is pretty awesome also. But
that would bring back the BC Boys if I did that.
All right. So reason we have two guests tonight. Second guest is a really cool one to get. But what had happened was that he does not speak good English.
It's me.
It's Mike. It's Mass Murderer Mike. He doesn't speak good English. He's French born. And so I set up this interview, and they told me, he'd be able to speak some English and he would have a translator there. And I said, you know what? sure. I mean, we've done 100-year-old guys. We've done a lot. I said, why not? So the man's name is Tonino Baliardo. Okay. And he is the guitarist and frontman of the band, the Gipsy Kings, who have been around for a very long time. They're known globally. You might know their song Bamboleo, which was huge. You heard it everywhere. They have a bunch of albums. They got a new album coming out, a new tour. So I did the interview. Mike wasn't available for the interview, and the audio was rough. He was having problems with the Zoom. The translator was having some connection problems. So it was just one of those scenarios where I didn't want to give him the whole episode. So it's a little bit of a rough listen. He's French speaking. Okay. So what I did was I cut it down. I took out the translator asking him the questions, and I just left his response and then the translator's kind of translation of the question. So it was the best I could do to clean up the audio. And it's still a valuable piece, especially for Gipsy King fans who might want to listen to the interview. So that is kind of why we doubled up this week. But without further ado, here is Tonino Baliardo of the Gipsy Kings on the podcast. So, Tonino, first off, I want to thank you for joining me for a few minutes here. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to talk to someone that I have heard their music now for decade after decade. And it's cool to see that this is a music that I don't even quite speak the language. I know a little bit, but I'm curious, is it, as we are in a generation where we can now stream all over the place music, and you guys had an audience that didn't even know your language but loved your music before. I'm curious now, as the Gipsy Kings are now 4 decades in, are you finding all new audiences through streaming?
Apparemment oui, parce que il y a beaucoup de jeunes qui reprennent cette musique et tout. Et bon, c'est vrai que le monde de l'industrie du disque a changé, bon, pour nous surtout. Et non, mais on fait avec, et j'ai des jeunes qui poussent à... Ouais, c'est différent, quoi. Mais le streaming, ça marche pas mal, oui, bien sûr.
He says that apparently, yes, because they are contacted by a lot of young people. So
Nice.
they do seem to reach younger audiences through streaming.
Yeah. So, like, I'm curious, what is, he's been doing this for so long. If there was a point where, if he was ever ready to give it up, or did, now that he's playing, now you're seeing another generation of his family playing with him. Did that reinvigorate him? And as you go to record this new album that's coming out, I believe in May, does it feel as alive as ever?
Ben oui, moi, tant que je peux faire la musique, en plus, je suis très content qu'il y a un groupe de jeunes autour de moi. C'est mes neveux, mes petits cousins, et c'est une nouvelle jeunesse qui ont beaucoup de dynamique et d'envie de faire cette musique, qui sont ravis. Mais moi, bon, je suis tombé dans la musique quand j'étais petit, et je suis toujours heureux d'en faire, en fait. Mais c'est vrai que j'ai une nouvelle envie de rejouer, de faire des trucs avec des jeunes de talent.
He says yes. He's delighted to be surrounded by young people who are dynamic and who reinvigorate his. I mean, he says, he's been doing music since he was really young. I think it's kind of just so ingrained in his lifeblood. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but he likes to be surrounded by young people who bring something new and energetic.
So when he gets, like when we see them do a cover of Hotel California, You Got a Friend in Me, what is the balance like, trying to honor the original version of the song, but also to make it your own and make it a Gipsy King song? How hard is that to kind of figure out that medium?
Je veux dire, c'est automatique, c'est un peu automatique. Quand on prend une reprise, nous on fait déjà avec les guitares. C'est la façon dont on joue les guitares. Il y a déjà la façon gypsy qui ressort, et on l'a fait naturellement. Je veux dire, c'est tout simple.
Well, he says it's just automatic because of the way they play the guitar already and the kinds of guitars they play. It comes out in their style. So any song that they take, it's through the guitar that it shows their signature style.
Awesome. He has such a signature style to his play. I imagine it takes a specific guitar kind of custom to him in order to play like that. I'm curious, is he a real like gear guy? Like, does he have to have a specific guitar, or is he able to just go in a music store and kind of pick up anything and still make the sound that we know from the Gipsy Kings?
Non, surtout moi, j'ai eu des problèmes parce que moi, je suis le guitariste soliste. Hein, et en fait, au début, il n'y avait pas trop pour ce genre de musique, la guitare n'existait pas trop en fait. Alors c'était, j'ai ramé un peu, je mettais des micros dans les flamencos et tout ça, ça ne fonctionnait pas. Et puis j'ai découvert cette Gibson. Et les autres avaient des flamencos avec des jacks ou des tacamines, des trucs. Mais ça s'est fait au fur et à mesure. Parce qu'il fallait des guitares puissantes, très puissantes.
Puissant.
Ouais, puissante, parce que le micro, comme le flamenco, ça se passe avant, avec ça ne fonctionnait pas. Ouais, donc, il a fallu adapter avec des électroacoustiques. Hein. Moi, il m'a fallu chercher une guitare plus forte que les autres parce que je suis soliste et j'ai trouvé cette Atkins Gibson qui est vachement forte. Et donc...
Okay, so he said it's quite difficult. I think he does need a specific guitar because the way, as a solo guitarist, the way he plays, he needs a really powerful guitar,
sure.
Which was difficult to find at the beginning to kind of respond to.
Les cordes de nylon, en fait.
Okay, so yeah, the guitar that he found was a Gibson guitar, which played really well. I'm not really quite sure what he said at the end because I can't quite hear him properly, but it's something about the style. I mean, essentially, he needs a very powerful guitar to play this.
Now, this music has traveled all throughout the world. Like here in the United States, I remember Bamboleo, all over the place in commercials on songs and whatnot. I'm curious if he was ever surprised through touring the world, if there was a place that he could never imagine that he would have people singing along to these songs where it was almost shocking. Like, I can't believe my music has reached this far.
Bon, c'est sûr qu'au début, on était surpris, mais en fait, on a commencé par l'Europe, les États-Unis, mais partout dans les concerts, on retrouvait la même enthousiasme. C'est des gens, c'était la folie, en fait. De nous voir là, c'était, voilà, que ce soit les États-Unis, l'Europe ou n'importe où, c'était, mais quand on a découvert les États-Unis, c'est sûr que on était impressionnés de jouer aux États-Unis, avec les plus grandes stars qui venaient nous voir, Stallone, Schwarzenegger. On était suivis par des stars et tout. Mais dans le monde entier, on a mis un peu le feu. Ouais.
Well, he said they were just surprised by the success. I mean, they first started out in Europe and the USA.
Yep.
And what was really, really struck them in the US when they traveled through the US was the big stars that were coming to see them and that were following them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that surprise kind of is, it was surprised to be successful outside of where they're based, I suppose.
Playing with your sons, I'm assuming, has to be an amazing experience, but I'm curious are you at a point where you are still able to, are you learning anything from the way your sons might be, doing their take on the music, or are you still kind of like the guy teaching them the style of the Gipsy Kings?
Oui, non, mais non, il m'amène à quelque chose qu'on avait peut-être un peu oublié avec les habitudes et tout ça. Ils amènent parce que la rythmique qu'on fait demande beaucoup d'énergie, en fait, surtout les rythmiques gypsy. Et les gens, là, ils ont bien envie de faire ça, et ça amène un peu le feu en plus, quoi. Et ils apprennent de moi aussi, les conseils que je leur donne, là, mais aussi ils m'apprennent la fougue qu'ils ont, que je retrouve quand j'ai 25 ans, quoi.
Okay, so yeah, he said it's primarily the energy that his children teach him or they bring him. bring him energy. So I don't know if it's really a lesson that they're bringing, but what they're allowing him to do is continue to find the energy in himself.
Yeah. So 40 years ago, I'm sure it was a lot easier to get up and tour and grind and get out on the road and do date after date. How is a Tonino of 2026? Is there certain things he has to do to be in playing shape, singing shape? How has life changed for him, kind of getting ready to go out on tour or either to get in the studio? What are how are we looking 4 decades later?
Et pour l'énergie que ça exige.
Oui, bien sûr, je m'adapte en fait. C'est vrai que ça a changé par rapport il y a 20 ans en arrière, mais j'ai tellement fait de tournées que je sais m'adapter en fait. Voilà, je prends plus tranquille, plus essayer de me reposer le mieux et d'assurer la tournée. Mais ça se passe très bien en tous les cas.
Yeah, he says that he's learned to adapt to the fact that he's older now. He takes it easy when he can, but he says that it still works out very well for him. He can keep it up.
Yeah. So we have a new Gipsy Kings album coming up. I forget the date, but I know it's in May at some point. What can fans of the Gipsy Kings expect from this album? I'm sure we're going to get a lot of what we love and expect, but what is some of the new things that maybe we might hear on this album that fans could be excited about?
Bon, d'inattendu, il y a quelque chose d'un peu spécial.
D'accord.
Voilà, c'est mon petit-fils qui m'interpelle et qui me demande de faire un titre sur parce qu'il aime bien les extraterrestres et l'univers. Maintenant, il me demande, grand-père, pourquoi tu ne fais pas une chanson sur l'univers et les extraterrestres? Et moi, j'ai fait donc Big Bang, qui est sur l'album. C'est un peu ce qui parle de l'univers, quoi, en fait. Ça, c'est un peu spécial. Non, de l'univers, un peu comment il y a eu le Big Bang, voilà, tout ça. C'est mon petit-fils qui m'a demandé d'écrire qui a 8 ans, Milan, il a 8 ans. Il m'a demandé d'écrire ça. Et bon, j'ai suivi ses conseils et je suis bien content de l'avoir fait.
Okay, so he says he's talking about one song in particular that's a bit special. His grandson asked him to write it for him. It's a song called Big Bang, and it's about the universe. It's about about the Big Bang, but about the general, wider scope of our existence. So that's probably something quite different from their usual offering.
Awesome. So first off, I want to thank Tonino for coming on. I know this is not this is a tough interview, and I'm glad we were still able to do it. I am a fan. I'm honored to have him on. And I want to thank you, Matt, for being the the voice between us to get this done. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but 2 things. If people want to check out what's the best place to follow either Tonino or the Gipsy Kings, and when is the album coming out? And 2, my final question, we all know about the Gipsy Kings and we know who's the boss there, but is there a Gypsy Queen that we know not to mess with behind the band?
Non, bon déjà, nos femmes, ils ont participé avec nous à l'aventure, on a tout suivi ça, et puis ils sont dans la fête aussi, et le danse, mais sinon, il y a une époque où il y avait un groupe qui s'appelait Gypsy Queen. C'est un groupe de jeunes femmes ça a duré quelques années.
Well, he says, just to answer the last question first, he says their wives have definitely participated in the success. They've danced on their music videos. They've I don't really. He's being quite tight-lipped about whether there's someone behind the scenes running the show. But he did say there is actually a group called the Gypsy Queens. They are not related to the Gypsy Kings, but there are Romany gypsy women who have their own group.
Nice. Awesome. Tonino, Matt, I want to thank you guys for giving us a few minutes. Like I said, I know this is not super easy, but we figured it out at least a little bit. Good luck with the album. Good luck with the tour. And hopefully years from now, we're talking to you again when the next album comes out. So I appreciate your time.
Merci. Mais non, mais en plus, c'est vrai que j'ai sur le site, comment il s'appelle? J'ai un site Tonino Baliardo, Gipsy Kings.
Ah oui, he's just saying that he has a website called Tony Baliardo.
Ouais, Gipsy Kings Tonino Baliardo.
If people want to follow him on there, they can type in his name.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and good luck with everything. And we'll talk to you down the road.
Merci et thank you, Scott.
Merci à vous.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mike. And that's it. We have Breakside Brewery and Tonino on the episode. I hope there's something for everyone on that, and glad to have them both on. And
Scott?
cool. Yeah.
What are their combined ages?
I don't know. Tonino's pretty. I think we're over the 100 mark.
Oh, my
Yeah. I think we are.
We went over. No, this is like a game show. What are you doing to me?
I think we got a couple young people coming on soon that we might have to have like 4 young people on.
Why don't we interview 10-year-olds next week? All half an hour long.
No, that is
banter in between each interview.
No, that's not a good idea, Mike. Us interviewing 10-year-olds. That's the guy at the park probably has the same idea.
Well, I mean, I didn't say all of the conversation was bad. I mean,
but great episode tonight. Fun to get on. Mike, anything to promote before we go?
Well, I mean, since we have a musician on tonight, let's just promote the Verbal Shenanigans Spotify music list that is out there. Literally every single band we've ever had on the show, Morrison X, is on that list. Some great things from Deep Blue Something, Pearl Jam,
Seven Dust,
Twisted Sister. I'm obviously Bambaleo just went up there. L7.
Victor Wooten.
I mean, the list is endless. If you're curious about the music, that we had on here, and we've had an abundance, and I'm proud of what we've done there. Yep. Check out the Verbal Shenanigans playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, it was a cool. It's a cool way for us to, one, to keep like a running record, and two, like, you know, rather than just seeing a picture, you know, you can actually listen to the music of some of the people who've been on the show. I think I got to add a 5th song from John Antoine. I'm not sure if I did that. I might have already. I'm not sure, but the 5-time John Antoine.
Oh, wait, you need me to do 5?
No, stop. I don't think I promoted Alan's book that much last week. Alan Shane, again, his story was really fascinating. For a 100-year-old guy, I thought he was so with it, and just a really cool story. His book, and it only took 100 years. It is now available. It's on Amazon and whatnot. You can order that, and it's a really interesting man, and give the man some support. 100 years old, still able to put his story together and put it in book form. So go check that out. Other than that, guys, life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
And remember, hydrate to keep those peas succulent.
Foil them poos.